What's up, everybody? It's your girl, Erica, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Happy Monday. I hope you have your week has gotten off to a great start, and I hope that you are safe and warm wherever you are. Many of us have experienced cold, frigid temperatures. We've gotten snow, ice, or a combination of both, and a lot of us have been sort of snowed in, but I hope that wherever you are safe and warm and doing well. I am here to do my weekly review of Married to Medicine. Of course, this is season 12, episode 9, and it was called Unexpected Consequences. Now, let me just be honest, guys. Here are my notes. I have started this video and stopped many times. Started the video, stopped many times. What's going on with me? I'm trying to just do the review and give you exactly what happened, because I know some of you may not have seen the episode. I've been trying to sort of take my personal feelings out of this a lot, but I got to be true to me, and that's probably why I keep starting the video and stopping. I almost just didn't do it at all, but I said, no, I've been here before. Let's go. So I am going to give you me, and I hope that you can just hang in there with me, guys, and hear what I have to say and not get offended. And, you know, like I said, even if you don't agree with me, at least just listen to the video. And like I said, if you don't, you know, if you feel another way, please feel free to write me a comment and let me know how you feel. So let's go. The episode starts off from where it left off last week. We know that the ladies are in Miramar. They're in a beautiful home there, a rental property there. And the ladies, Heavenly has just arrived on the trip. The girls were there the first night without Heavenly, but now she is there. The groups were split up 4 and 4. So Contessa's group, that was Contessa, Brandy, Mimi, and Simone, they went somewhere. And then, of course, Dr. Jackie, Quad, Toya, and Angel went somewhere. And then Heavenly came later on and joined them. So now all of the ladies are back at the house. Contessa's group arrived first. Dr. Jackie's group is just getting back to the house. So when Heavenly gets there, Simone sort of withdraws. You can tell that there's a lot of tension there. Dr. Jackie immediately goes to Simone and says, hey, you know, what's going on? You know, I really want you and Heavenly to have a conversation. I think the conversation is needed. You know, Simone says, look, I understand what you're saying. I respect what you're saying. But at the same time, I think Heavenly went too far this time to call me unhinged, or to make it seem like I am like I'm just like like I'm an uncaged animal that you have to beware of. Simone does have a problem with that. Jackie said, you know, just said, okay, I validate your feelings, but again, Heavenly will apologize, allow her to apologize. And Simone is just basically saying she doesn't know if she can accept it right now. She's being very honest. She's saying that too much has happened. She doesn't like how it happened. She doesn't like the things that's being said, and she doesn't know if she's ready to just even accept it. And Dr. Jackie really just has to leave it there. Dr. Jackie goes on to say she knows Heavenly's heart, and Dr. Jackie is partly true. Dr. Jackie, you do know Heavenly's heart about you. You understand Heavenly's heart toward you. You don't understand what Heavenly's feelings and what her heart is toward Simone, and you can't speak for Heavenly about Simone. So Jackie, I think you need to sort of step back a little bit, because again, this is where you get into trouble with them, because you've been friends with Simone for over 30 years, but you're also friends with Heavenly. And what it does appear like, or it appears that you are more or less letting Heavenly get away with things, but wanting Simone to be accountable and wanting Simone to sort of get on the right path or do the right thing. But at the same time, Dr. Jackie, you got to make sure that Heavenly gets on the right path and she's also doing the right thing. So I just think Jackie needs to sort of stay out of it. Contessa says that dinner will be starting soon. Toya and Simone have a conversation. Toya knows Simone. She's been friends with her for a little while now. And so she knows that Simone is very apprehensive going into this dinner and stuff like that. And Toya understands that Dr. Heavenly hasn't apologized, and she says that's the main thing. Dr. Heavenly won't apologize, and she won't take accountability. Well, Quad and Simone are in Quad and Heavenly are in Quad's room. Heavenly and Quad are going to share a room because their bedrooms are somewhat limited now that all of the girls are there. I think with Heavenly, it makes 9 of them. So she's going to stay with Quad. Quad just asked Heavenly straight up, what happened? Like, what, Simone said that she wasn't aggressive with you, but you're trying to make it seem like she was. Well, Heavenly told Quad a lie. Heavenly told Quad that Simone sort of threw her hand off of her and sort of became very aggressive as if to like push her. Well, we saw production showed the video. Simone was not aggressive. Simone took Heavenly's hand, picked it up, and removed it from off of her shoulder and said she did not want to be in a picture with fake people. That is what happened. We have the footage to prove it. So Heavenly just going off. Heavenly is determined to let the picture paint itself that Simone is this horrible, aggressive, evil person. So that's where they left off until dinner starts. So we see Cecil. They show montages of the men at home with the children. They showed Scott with the kids. They showed Dr. Eugene with his boys. It looked like whatever they were doing was pretty interesting. I would have loved to have seen where Dr. Eugene actually took Ashton and Avery for their little event and the conversation that he was having. He was sort of asking them how they felt about him really being away from the house. And I would have loved to have seen that because what they showed us was Cecil going to talk to Miles and Michael. Cecil went over to Miles and Michael's apartment, and he decided that he was going to have a conversation with them. When Cecil arrived, he said that, hey, he discussed that Simone is tired and she feels underappreciated by him as well as the boys. Cecil asked Miles and Michael, did they know anything about it? Michael said that yes, his mother had alluded to that, so he was aware of that. Cecil was telling them basically Simone feels like she wants to retire, she wants to do some things in life, but she feels like she's financially burdened by having to take care of them. And so he wanted to tell them that we have to do something different because your mother's fear is that she won't be able to enjoy her life from having to take care of them. Cecil even went as far as to say that 75% of he and Simone's problems are the boys. Michael and them recognized that. He said, we are fine, but when we have to get into it about you guys or discuss you guys or to deal with anything, any issues dealing with you, that's where we run into issues. So it was a light conversation. Cecil is their, the BFF of the boys. He's their buddy. He said something to him. It was a quick 10-minute man talk, and then he said, well, let's go and get something to eat. And of course, the guys asked, was he going to pay for it? And he said yes. So that also lends to the problem that Simone is talking about. When are they going to somewhat contribute financially in any situation? But like I said, we'll get back to the ladies nonetheless, because I thought that scene really, they just kind of like threw that in there, and I thought, okay, it wasn't necessary. But anyway, so the ladies get back. Also, before Mimi talked to Steve, Mimi asked Steve, how was the day? And Steve was telling her, oh, it was kind of a bad day. He's at home with the kids, of course, while she's gone. He said he took Stevie to the office, and she said, why? Why didn't he go to summer camp? And he said, well, he had gotten a late start. And then I think with him getting a late start, it sort of threw everything off. But then too, Stevie was probably having a couple of moments, so felt like he was just kind of drained, kind of tired, and he was even kind of saying he'll be glad when Mimi comes back home, because it appears that Mimi knows how to, keep everything in perspective, and things run a lot smoother when she's there. Excuse me. So that was pretty much the gist of that. And so the ladies, they actually go out to dinner. Of course, it's a really nice setup. Contessa is really trying to be a really, really good host. She had a chef from Atlanta. So the ladies are, that he's talking about what they're going to be served, what they're going to eat. And the ladies seem pretty pleased. But there is some tension at the table. I think... Quad asked, and that's exactly what happened. I was trying to think, I'm jumping ahead, but Quad asked Simone to pray. Simone said no. She said, Simone, would you pray? Simone said no. A lot of people probably will say Simone was just being nasty and evil, but I don't blame Simone. Sometimes when your heart is not right or something's going on with you, that is not the time to say it. Now, we know sometimes you have to push through and you have to be a bigger person or to be the better person, but there are times where you need to sort of withdraw, especially when you know that it could cause some tension or friction. And so, in that moment, Quad really didn't even have to ask Simone to pray. She could have just asked, she could have just said the prayer herself so that the ladies could continue on and start dinner. But Toya took the reins and she prayed, and so that was that. Contestant started the conversation by asking Heavenly, about why it took her so long, why, she didn't come along with the other ladies on the trip. She seemed to have given like other excuses. I know Heavenly said that it was Dr. Damon's birthday. And so, contestant wanted to ask about that. Well, Heavenly was just basically saying that after the altercation with her and Simone, she felt like it just wasn't, she wasn't in a good headspace to just come on the trip. I understand that maybe you needed some more time and you wanted to, sort of just stay away from the situation. And that's okay if that's what she really chose to do. I think Toya was the only one, like I said, that took up for Simone in that way. Heavenly was sort of painting the picture of what happened again. Toya just cut her off. And let me just say this, I'm going to park right here. Toya, yes, we call her Tacky Toya. Yes, Toya has not moved the best in this group. Sometimes she's done some things that are questionable. But one thing I would say about Toya, watching the show from season 1 until now, when Toya says something about someone's character, be it good or bad, she's normally telling the truth. Toya is the only one that will combat Heavenly, challenge Heavenly, or say anything to Heavenly. Some of the other ladies appear to be a little too afraid to go at Heavenly. Toya is not. Toya was being a friend. Toya was even being more of a friend than Dr. Jackie, who has known Dr. Simone for over almost 30 years. One thing about Simone, we know like they call it surround sound Simone. We know that Simone is loud. We know that Simone's going to go at you and argue with you, but Simone is not going to hit anybody. She's said it since season 2. She's not a fighter. She's never going to fight anyone. She's always said that. So for that to sort of be the narrative now about Simone is very upset about that. Simone said that she was going to leave dinner because she felt uncomfortable. Heavenly said good. Toya didn't like that. Toya really wanted, she, as a friend, she was being a friend. She was the only one that was being a friend. Heavenly went on to say, what happened, how aggressive Simone was, how evil she was, how nasty she was. And I kind of got mad with Dr. Contessa because Dr. Contessa, in last week's episode, you told the ladies at the pool, and even in the car, you didn't know if Heavenly was sort of setting Simone up because you told the ladies specifically at the pool that you were right there when it happened and Simone was not being aggressive. Yet when Heavenly said it at the table, the dinner table on last night's episode, you said absolutely nothing. It was as if you were afraid to check Heavenly or to put Heavenly in her place or just to tell the truth. It's not even about anything about Heavenly and Contessa's past relationship, but Contessa, if you told the ladies what you saw on the first night, you should have repeated it again on the second night. Mimi and Toya started going back and forth. Dr. Mimi, I understand that you're close with Heavenly and I understand that you have an issue with Toya, but Dr. Mimi, you also don't fully understand the dynamics in this group. Yes, you are a psychiatrist. You're watching from afar. You can probably offer some advice as to how things should be done. But again, Mimi, I think you're just letting your personal feelings for Toya get in the way of everything. Mimi said that Toya wants to interrupt. She doesn't really want to see conflict resolution. She just wants to keep things going. I don't believe that. I do believe that Toya was being a friend to Simone. I feel like Toya knows how Heavenly is. Heavenly has a very bad habit of coming in and playing the victim and changing the narrative, and then it becomes the other person's fault. Toya clearly just wanted Heavenly to take accountability for also the part that she played in it, because Toya said, okay, Heavenly, you're saying that, Simone was aggressive, but you were there, and what did you do? And did you put your hands on her, or did you grab her? Like, so you're just saying basically she just threw her hands up, and Toya was just trying to let her know, Heavenly, you got to go through the entire scenario of how things played out that night before you sit up here and say that someone is aggressive and unhinged. So Heavenly got angry and she stormed out. Mimi jumped up and went behind her and said, look, you got to calm down and just tell your side of the story. Tell your side of the story. Heavenly comes back. Toya's like, nope, 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 not going to happen. You're not going to sit here and not acknowledge the wrong that you did. Mimi jumped in and said, well, Toya, you don't like resolution. And the thing about it is, she even said something like, what did Mimi say? Mimi said, this wasn't happening last night. This wasn't happening last night. Yeah, it wasn't happening last night, Mimi, because Heavenly wasn't there. The ladies were having a great time because the tension between Simone and Heavenly did not occur because Heavenly had not arrived at the house yet. So I don't even understand why Mimi is saying, like, as if, Heavenly coming changed the vibe at the house. Heavenly coming changed the mood of people at the house because they knew it was about to go down. So again, Heavenly leaves. Jackie storms in there. She tries to talk to Heavenly. Jackie's having a come to Jesus moment. I know you're better than this. Things are changing for you, and you have to accept this change, and you have to be a better person. And I wrote right here in my notes, and you guys probably cannot see it, but I said they want Heavenly to be better, far better than who she is and what she is. Sometimes that happens in life. Jackie, Heavenly is not your patient. She is not your case study. She is your friend. There are times where you want better for your friend. You want them to be better. You want them to do better. You want them to act a certain way. But at the same time, all you can do is motivate them, encourage them, try to tell them the right things to do, and then take your hands off. Any changes that take place in Heavenly has to do it. If she wants to be a better person, if she wants to do things different or do things the right way, she's going to have to do it on her own. And you have to take your hands off. You can't save Heavenly. And that's what I wanted to tell Jackie so bad. Heavenly's going through some things too, but Heavenly, if you're not willing to open up and talk about it and really be honest about it, then it's almost like null and void. But to me in that moment, and I know some of you will probably get mad, I didn't really feel like Heavenly was even mad in that or upset in that moment. I feel like Heavenly knows how to make good TV, and she was manipulating them in that moment. I could be wrong. That's just my opinion. I felt like Heavenly wasn't even crying. I felt like Heavenly was like, I'm going through so much. She gave us a good TV moment as if she was so overly emotional and she was really upset. When Heavenly pulled her head up, Heavenly looked as almost the same to me. And it almost felt like she wanted to laugh because Jackie's on her knees crying and sobbing and begging her to just apologize and to be better and to do things better. And Heavenly's looking at her like, y'all, I don't even care. I'm making good TV. And that's just the way I felt about it. But that's just my opinion, guys. If you've been watching my videos, I started last year. I've always said that I think Heavenly's great for the show, but at the same time, I do believe that at this point, Heavenly has gone too far. Heavenly is really manipulating these situations, and I really just don't like it, and I have to be honest about it. So the girls decided to play a game. Contessa tries to pull everybody together after that moment. They were going to put on their pajamas, but they ended up not doing it. Contessa said, let's play a game called Petty Pop. Heavenly and Simone, although they were reluctant at first, they do decide to participate. So the girls will read a question. Whoever the question, they would choose the person that the question actually sort of emulates or was closest to that person, then they would pop their balloon. So they said, like, which one of the girls is the doesn't think before she speaks. And of course Jackie popped Toya's balloon. So that was the kind of game, but it was a success. The ladies had fun. They were laughing, they were joking, they were popping each other's balloons. They were being honest in that moment, but they were popping each other's balloons. And it seems like they were sort of getting back on track at that particular point. So the next day, it's the next morning. They showed a little montages of the ladies, but the ladies are going to have breakfast outside. Some of the ladies are drinking smoothies. Some of them are eating real food. Mimi decides to call Toya out and basically say, we're going to have a problem because Toya seems to be drinking already. Well, Dr. Mimi, you and Toya we need to get to the bottom of why you and Toya have such an issue, because I'm trying to figure out what happened or what occurred so much that now you just have to call Toya out every second and every chance you get. All the ladies are drinking. Quad is a drinker. Simone is a drinker. Angel is a drinker. Dr. Contessa has her share. Heavenly will have a drink or two, and Toya is a drinker. So to me, it seems like all the ladies on the vacation have been drinking, yet you're singling out Toya because she's drinking. Dr. Contessa, right before they went out, Dr. Contessa went to everyone's group and she wanted to see how the group was. She spoke to everyone individually to see how they felt. Could they come to breakfast? Could they kind of move forward? And so she sort of wrote it like in her MacBook or in her computer, as if she was actually like sort of doing like, she was at a doctor's appointment and she was sort of doing the prognosis or whatever. So anyway, the ladies are outside by the pool. And like I said, Mimi attacks Toya. So like I said, there's something there with that. So eventually Heavenly decides to tell her story again. I will say, Heavenly talked about that night. Heavenly was thrown off when Simone was saying, Heavenly, hey, Toya told me what you were saying at your campaign, at the campaign launch and stuff like that. Simone was wrong in how she approached her, but again, Heavenly's going to take it. Simone was at level 10 where Heavenly went to level 100, and that's how things got started. Again, Heavenly was sort of talking about how she felt about the whole situation. Again, Heavenly got upset again. She was talking about the campaign launch and how much stress she's under. I do believe that that's probably very stressful, but I also believe that Heavenly's going to use that to get over on the ladies. Whenever she can use that as a convenience. She can say, hey, I'm feeling this particular way. I'm feeling that particular way. I have so much on my plate. I'm stressed out about this campaign. And then the ladies will sort of feel sorry for her. And then Heavenly doesn't have to take accountability for anything she says or does. So Heavenly got upset again. Again, the ladies start going back and forth. Mimi and Toya start going back and forth. And then Heavenly goes to sit with Simone. Heavenly tries to apologize to Simone. They have their own conversation while the other ladies are sort of going back and forth. But I wrote that the conversation was pointless. Heavenly gave Simone a routine apology, one that she's given her many, many times before, but Simone says she doesn't feel comfortable with it. She says she feels like their friendship has really come to a head. She doesn't know if she'll ever trust Heavenly after saying what she said this particular time. Simone was very, you could tell Simone was being very sincere. You could tell Simone was being very serious in that moment. There was no anger in her voice. You could hear the concern of how she really felt, how Heavenly was looking at her, and how she felt like Heavenly was trying to paint a picture of her. And you could tell Simone was just saying, I can't do it this time. I cannot do it. I can't accept your apology. Heavenly said, Simone, you know I love you. You know you're my friend, and I would never want our friendship to come to an end over this. But I don't think that's true. I think, once again, like I said, Heavenly wants to make good TV. I think Heavenly wants Toya and Simone to be the ops. I think she paints that picture whenever she's with Carlos King or with anyone else and doing her reviews or her interviews. She wants to make Toya and Simone the ops. She wants to make them the bad guys. I think also there's definitely an issue with Dr. Simone. To me, I feel like she even wants Dr. Simone off the show. So that was the end of the episode, guys. I hope I didn't bore you too much, because although there was stuff going on in the episode, it still wasn't a whole lot. It was just a continuation of the conversation. The main thing was for Simone and Heavenly to have the conversation, but they did not have the conversation until the very end of the show, because some of the other ladies had gotten into it or had gotten involved. So please like this video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, I had done this video. I had done it before. I probably was a lot more lively in the other videos, but I think too, like I said, I was getting riled up and I was putting too much into it. I was putting a little too much dip on my chips. So I decided to do the video over so that I could give you a clear review of what really happened on the actual episode. So again, thank you so much for your support. Please, like I said, like and subscribe to my channel. I think I said that already. And leave me a comment. I know that's not everyone's thing, but leave me a comment. Tell me how you feel about this episode, and do you feel like Simone and Heavenly will repair their friendship? Do you think they will go back to being buddies again and we'll see them on live eating at the Cheesecake Factory? Or do you really feel like this is the end of the road for Dr. Simone and Dr. Heavenly? Have a wonderful day, and I will see you on the next review. Bye.